Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Manchester United want Pau Torres and Jules Kounde. Now, Man United have made contact with Villarreal regarding Pau Torres, and according to ESPN, he has emerged as a top target for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And it says we can sign Pau Torres for less than his £56 million release clause if Villarreal fail to qualify for Europe. Pau Torres is a centre-half. He's 24 years of age, still young, got a lot of development in him. He's been at Villarreal a long time. He's been there in total around 19 years. He's got a contract with Villarreal until 2024. And he had a loan spell with Malaga. So do you think he'd go well alongside Harry Maguire in our back line? And Jules Kounde, he's been told that he's ready to play for a big club. Diego Carlos, his teammate, has spoken highly on Jules Kounde. Jules Kounde has a £68 million release clause. There was narratives coming out earlier on this season saying that we was unwilling to meet his £68 million release clause. He did mention though we was prepared to pay £61 million. The Spanish outlet La Razón said earlier on this season that we were considered the favourites to sign Kounde. Jules Kounde's performances for Sevilla have been outstanding this season. He's got a contract with Sevilla until 2024. Sevilla paid £22 million for him from Bordeaux in the summer of 2019. But a new centre-half is our priority. There's been a lot of centre-halves on our agenda. You know the news on Rafael Varane. There's been narratives coming out saying that Real Madrid are prepared to sell Rafael Varane on one condition. Rafael Varane must inform Real Madrid on his decision to leave. And the AS said he's decided that he wants to come to the Premier League in the summer. But one report's just come out and said that Rafael Varane could now stay at Real Madrid. I think it said last month from the AS that talks over extending his contract have not settled. And it said he was valued at around £61 million. Back in 2018, Woodward was prepared to sanction a £100 million move for Rafael Varane. I'd certainly take him at Manchester United because he's a world-class centre-half, he's highly experienced, he's 27 years of age, and he's been at Real Madrid a decade now. He's made over 300 appearances and he's won 18 major honours. Real Madrid paid just €10 million for him from Lens back in 2011. Kalidou Koulibaly, he's been another centre-half on our agenda, and Sergio Ramos has been on our agenda. Now, I just want to talk with you about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So, if Man United were to sack Solskjaer, would that be the answer to Man United's problems? In some aspects, yeah. In some aspects, no. I think it's pointless sacking Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, especially at this present time, because as far as I'm aware at the moment, no one is available to replace him. And there is a lot of Manchester United fans that are Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out. In the summer, we are set to hand Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a new contract. I think we're set to hand him a new 3-year contract. There was narratives coming out earlier on this season saying that Solskjaer's future was in doubt because he admitted that nobody had spoke to him regarding a new contract. But he said we'll wait until the end of the season to begin contract talks with Ole. I think Solskjaer's into the final 16 months of his current contract. I've told you, one of my biggest concerns about Solskjaer is his decision making, because in the vast majority of the games he's managed at Man United, he's been tactically naive, especially in a lot of the big games. Yeah, there's some games where he's showed tactical flexibility, but he's got to show tactical flexibility persistently. And, the football's just boring under Solskjaer. It really, really is. Under the Jose Mourinho era, it was part of the bus. I hated the way Jose Mourinho approached the big games when he was Man United manager, and it was turgid football under the Louis van Gaal era. And I did a video last week, didn't I, saying that Solskjaer is the new Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho. But when we are inconsistent, not all of the blame stems from Solskjaer. Some of the blame stems from him. Obviously, he's got to take responsibility. I think Solskjaer will get another season at the football club. I have said Solskjaer must win a trophy at Man United to avoid the sack, because he's not yet won a trophy as Man United manager, and we haven't won a trophy since 2017. And that's nowhere near good enough to our standards. A club of our stature need to be winning trophies. Ole hasn't got a proven pedigree as a manager. Before he was at Man United, he was at Molde. He won a few Norwegian titles at Molde, but they're not a big club. And before he was at Molde, he was at Cardiff, and his record at Cardiff was absolutely disastrous. He actually ended up getting Cardiff relegated. And he managed a Man United reserve team for a couple of years, so he watched some of this team grow and develop. So he obviously knows the club inside out, Solskjaer, but I just think the club is too big for him to manage. I really, really do. And a lot of United fans did say that we made a mistake giving him the job permanently. Maybe we give him the job too soon. Maybe we should have waited until the end of that particular season to decide or not whether to give him the job. Solskjaer has been Man United manager over 2 years. We appointed him in December 2018 to replace Jose Mourinho. You've probably got to say he is the best manager since Ferguson, because we've had periods under Solskjaer where we've actually been consistent, and during them good periods there's been some games where he's got the best out of the team. He's improved certain players. And we've got to credit Solskjaer in quite a few aspects. We are second in the Premier League. At one point, he got us top of the Premier League for the first time in 7.5, 8 years. We're no longer in the title race now because there was a period where we dropped far too many points. We've got a fantastic away record in the Premier League. We are unbeaten in our last 22 Premier League away games. Solskjaer's got us to the FA Cup quarter-finals. He's got us to the Europa League last 16. Got us to the EFL Cup semi-final this season, lost 2-0 to City. He's got rid of a lot of players since he came in. Solskjaer did well last season in his first full season at the club, and Solskjaer's made some good signings since he became Man United manager. He's spent almost £300 million. So far, Solskjaer has enjoyed 4 transfer windows as permanent Man United manager. But the board has been one of the biggest problems at the club for several years, reflecting how poor our recruitment policy's been. The managers that we've had haven't got the players that they wanted in, and we've overpaid for players. Now, Woodward's come out several times to show his support for Ollie, and he did say towards the end of last year he will back in with a long-term plan centred around summer transfer windows. And even enjoying them bad periods, Woodward come out quite a few times and assured that Solskjaer's job was safe. Like I said, our board have got a soft stance on Ollie, with him being a club legend. I think disregarding Solskjaer being a club legend, he probably wouldn't have been Manchester United manager now. Woodward did a statement not so long ago, and he says the progress by Solskjaer and the players this season is clear. So in that aspect, Woodward is backing him. This year's summer transfer window is the biggest in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial career, because we do need to make signings. We may not do business as usual due to the pandemic. Solskjaer said he's interested in bringing in players that would be a perfect fit for the club. Now, I think there's a good chance Solskjaer will get the backing he deserves in the summer, because we have got a director of football in. It's John Murtough. By the way, it's our first ever director of football. And I did say that's one of the structural changes that we need at the club. We was in for the director of football for a while. And John Murtough knows the club inside out, because he's been at Man United for 7 years. And Darren Fletcher is our technical director. But the two priorities is a new centre-half and a new forward. Top 4 is our aim now in the league, because we know we're not going to win the league, and I can almost assure that we are going to finish in the top 4. It would be a disaster if we finished out of the top 4. If we finished out of the top 4, I'd turn around and say to you at the end of the season, Solskjaer deserves to be sacked. Simple. We are going to sell quite a few players, I think, in the summer. So in that aspect, we are going to generate money, and it will help us with our rebuilding process. There's narratives coming out again regarding Edison Cavani. Solskjaer has said he's closer to Boca Juniors than staying at Manchester United. But Solskjaer recently said there's been no decision made over Edison Cavani's future. Edison Cavani's father has been talking. He said he's unhappy at the club and he's not comfortable in England. And he said he wants to leave, but reports from Argentina said that Cavani has decided to leave Man United after just a season. He's rejected the contract extension because we've got an option to trigger his contract for a further year, and he wants to join Boca Juniors on a 3-year contract. Cavani hasn't been playing recently because he's been out with injury. But Cavani's made a fantastic impact since he's come in. He really, really has, to his credit. He's scored goals, he creates chances, his hold-up play is good, his movement in and out of the box is good. We got him on a free transfer last summer. He signed a 1-year contract with Man United with an option of a 2nd year. But earlier on this season, it actually said Cavani wants to stay at Man United for next season, and Solskjaer said he was set for contract extension talks. Now, there's a lot of United fans that are saying we should sell Anthony Martial in the summer. And if we sell Martial in the summer, Erling Haaland and Harry Kane are our 2 top targets, like I mentioned yesterday. Martial's been criticised a lot this season because for the vast majority of this season, Martial has been out of form. He's had chances, but he hasn't converted them. But Solskjaer did say that he's been impressed with Anthony Martial's work rate and he's backed him to rediscover his form. To Martial's credit, he's done well in his last 2 games. Martial was good last season and he was good in his debut season under Louis van Gaal. Martial has been at the club over 5 years, but we sell him in the summer. I reckon we'd get around £30 million. There's a good chance we'll get rid of Juan Mata in the summer. Juan Mata's current contract expires in the summer. There is an option to trigger his contract for a further year. Solskjaer said earlier on this season he's not surprised that Juan Mata's linked to a move away from the club and heard that 3 Italian clubs were in for him. Earlier on this season, Mata rejected an $18 million a year contract offer to play in Saudi Arabia. Doesn't get in our 11 now, but I think he's had a good career at Man United. He's been at the club over 6 years. We got Mata in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea back in 2014. Matic, we could sell him in the summer because he's not one of our first choice midfielders, but he still gets his chances. He's too inconsistent, is Matic from my own perception, but he's had some good games. I've always had my strong reservations about Matic because he's always been a slow player. And obviously he's aging up. Matic has been at the club almost 4 years. We got him in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea back in 2017. Phil Jones, I want him to leave this year. Phil Jones doesn't get in our 11. He's been out of injury for over a year. Jones is the only outfield player that's still here from the Sir Alex Ferguson era. And this is Phil Jones' 10th season at the club, so he has been a long servant. Sergio Romero, do you think we'll get rid of him? There's a good chance we'll sell David De Gea in the summer, so we can make Dean Henderson our first choice goalkeeper. Recent narratives said we are willing to listen to offers for De Gea. We value him at £50 million. De Gea has not been available in recent matches due to personal reasons, but now he's back in Manchester and he is self-isolating. Earlier on this season, Solskjaer warned De Gea that his number 1 jersey is under threat. The Sun said not so long ago that PSG wanted him because PSG are looking for a number 1 to replace Keylor Navas. De Gea has 2 years left on his contract at Man United and he's on £375,000 a week. This is his 10th season at the club, so he has been a long servant. He's won everything domestically at the club. A few years ago, he was regarded as the best goalkeeper in the world. But in the last couple of years, he's made calamitous mistakes. Reflecting on that, he has become a liability. And, we could still offload Paul Pogba in the summer. So, yeah, we were to sell them players would generate a substantial amount. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he is our 4th permanent manager since Ferguson retired. We've sacked 3 managers since Ferguson retired, and that was David Moyes. We sacked him after 10 months. He enjoyed the shortest tenure at the club. He was the worst manager we ever had. We sacked Louis van Gaal after 2 years, despite him winning the FA Cup. And we sacked Jose Mourinho after 2.5 years, despite him winning 3 trophies in his first season. And we got 2nd in his first season. So we had 1 good season under Jose Mourinho. But yeah, we have been playing catch-up for the last 8 years. And a lot of United fans predicted this to happen, when Ferguson retired. There has been mistakes made as well in the last 8 years, and that's one of the main explanations why we haven't been as consistent as we'd like to have been. We've spent over £1 billion on players, and we've brought around 37 players in since Ferguson retired. So, reflecting on the money we've spent, people will say, we should be where City are, we should be challenging and winning trophies, but always spending big doesn't guarantee you success, and that has been proven. Who would I take in if we sat Solskjaer? I probably would take Julian Nagelsmann in, because Julian Nagelsmann's a good manager and he's done well with RB Leipzig. But yeah, sacking Solskjaer wouldn't solve all our problems, like I said earlier on in the video, but it'd solve some problems. Because like I said, these players at Man United that are not good enough. But there again, there's players that have really improved at Man United. Because like I said earlier on, Solskjaer has improved certain players at the club. Dean Henderson, he's done well in the games he's played in this season. And I think Dean Henderson is now reliable enough to become our number one, because he has got that experience behind him. Scholes said that we should have replaced De Gea with Dean Henderson earlier on this season. Henderson, though, should have saved AC Milan's equaliser in injury time because he got a hand to it. Earlier on this season, Dean Henderson threatened to quit the club if he's not assured the number one role. Luke Shaw, he's been our player of the season by far. Aspects of his game have improved. Defensively, Luke Shaw's been good. He's got forward well. He's got into good positions. His crossing's been good. And Shaw's had a good career at Man United apart from his injuries. He's been at the club over 6 years and he still remains our first choice left back despite the arrival of Alex Telles. Eric Bailly, I've been impressed with him in the games he's played in this season. Bailly can intercept the ball well. He shows the ability to play out from the back. He's also effective in the air. And I certainly prefer him to Lindelof. I think Bailly and Maguire complement each other well in our back line. Not always, but in some games. By the way, Solskjaer's confirmed Man United have opened up talks with Eric Bailly over a new contract. I think we're willing to offer him a new 3-year contract. Bailly has just 15 months left on his current contract. Bailly's been with us since 2016. We paid around £30 million for him from Villarreal. The only element of concern about Bailly is injury prone, so in that aspect he is a liability. And Wan-Bissaka, he's done well in some games this season where he's showed good attacking intent. His crossing's been good in some games. He's got into good positions. Defensively, more or less, Wan-Bissaka's been superb. This is Wan-Bissaka's second full season at Man United. We got him in a deal worth £50 million from Crystal Palace. Possibly, I think Wan-Bissaka can emulate into the next Gary Neville. I've got to say, Fred, he's really, really improving as well. He's had bad games, but he's had good games where he's got forward well. His passing's been good, defensively being good. Fred's been at the club a few years. We got Fred in a deal worth £52 million from Shakhtar Donetsk, and Fred's not at the level as I want him to be at as yet. Can he emulate to that level? Fred was a world-class player, though, during his time in Ukraine. Scott McTominay, he's a decent player and he's enjoyed good games this season. But he's also enjoyed poor games, where he gets dispossessed too easy, he's a bit slow and he looks out of his depth at times. McTominay is not at the level as we want him to be at as yet, but McTominay could emulate that level because he's young, he's got a lot of development in him. Pogba, we was getting the best out of him in recent months before he got the thigh injury. The last game Paul Pogba played was the 3-3 draw with Everton. I'm hopeful Paul Pogba will be back soon because he's a big miss because we lack creativity in that midfield without him. And we're too defensive. We really, really are. Donny van der Beek, he's a good player when he plays. But he hardly plays. Obviously, he's out with injury at the moment, Van der Beek. Most of Donny van der Beek's appearances have come from the bench. He's only started 2 games in the league. He's a key player for us. We got him in a deal worth £40 million We paid 35 million up front and there was 5 million in add-ons, and he's versatile because he can play in 3 different roles. Bruno Fernandes, he's our best player and he's the best signing we've made since Ferguson retired. Because he's made a difference in the team. People say if we didn't have Bruno Fernandes, we'd be lower than we are now. Because he's scored the vast majority of our goals. A lot of them have come from the penalty spot. By the way, Bruno Fernandes is refusing to sign a new contract until he has assurances over the club's transfer plans. So could Bruno Fernandes possibly leave within the next 18 months or something? Says we're willing to double his wages to £200,000 a week. In the vast majority of Bruno Fernandes' games, he's been consistent, but there's been a few games where he has looked off the pace. I think at some point he needs a rest, but earlier on this season he denied that he needed a rest. He's won Player of the Month now quite a few times, reflecting on his good performances. Mason Greenwood, he's done very, very well since he broke into our first team squad. And he's done well recently, despite scoring. You know, Greenwood's been a United player since the age of 7. He's been in our senior squad since 2019. And he's made 80-odd first-team appearances. Earlier on this season, he signed a new 4-year contract with Man United. And at the start of this season, we give him that number 11 shirt. Solskjaer's been defending him a lot this season. Earlier on in the season, he was in and out of the team, wasn't he? Marcus Rashford, he's a very good player. He's improved under Ollie, but he's also endured poor games. Rashford's not available at the moment because he is out with an ankle injury. Don't forget he did have the scan on his ankle. And there is no ligament damage on his ankle. It just said it's bruised and swollen. We just need to keep Marcus Rashford out wide on the left when we're playing because that's where he's more effective. And Amad Diallo Traore, he looks a good asset for the first team. Amad Diallo Traore scored his first goal for the club in the 1-1 draw with AC Milan. It was a well-taken goal as well. Good header. Lovely through ball from Bruno Fernandes. With the injury crisis we've got to our strikers, you know, Amad Diallo Traore could be making his full debut tomorrow against West Ham. We got Amad Diallo Traore in a deal worth £37 million. You know, we paid 19 million up front and the rest was add-ons. So there we go. You know, we have got good players and players are improving. On my next video, I will be giving you my predictions for our game against West Ham. I'll give you my score prediction, or I think he'll score, because I've already given you my starting 11 prediction. I've given you the preview for the game, and I've given you my reaction to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.